Okay, if everyone's ready, time is now 3:35. So we'll go ahead and begin. Uh, First, I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon and welcome you to How to Win at Business During Challenging Times. This is our third workshop of 2020 of our 2020, our 2020 workshop series. So we're glad to have everyone. My name is Jamal Jones. I'm the Director of Business Development with the City of Harrisburg. Before we get started, I wanted to thank a couple of our partnering organizations that typically help us with planning and promoting these kinds of events. Wanted to acknowledge the SBA, the Small Business Administration, Kutztown University, SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the African American Chamber of Commerce of Central PA, and lastly, the Harrisburg Launch Box out of Penn State University. So again, these are organizations that are local to Harrisburg, which are about the business of helping your business grow and being a support to local business. So we thank them for their partnership. Our workshop today, really, it's an opportunity. We had a great opportunity to pull together a panel of experts to really spend some time, having a discussion around how to, succeed and how to remain successful, and also shining a light on, some different strategies towards remaining relevant and really, making sure that your business is prepared to, to stay relevant in a changing landscape. Over the last 7 months, we've all encountered really some times that, I don't think any of us have seen anything like this before with regard to COVID-19. The pandemic has created, many changes to our lifestyle, just from different, safety precautions that we need to take, really to, relearning, how to live our lives. So certainly, if you are a business owner or, someone that is considering starting a business, there are some different characteristics and challenges that you need to be mindful of. So again, our role today is to have a broad discussion around how to stay relevant during these times. Moving along, we want to introduce our panelists. Actually, I'll let them introduce themselves, as they'll probably do a better job than I will. So why don't we start with Ms. Amajo?
Thank you, Jamal. Thanks for having me. I'm Amajo, and I started my namesake fashion label 5 years ago. And I started with one handbag and $100, just started selling to friends, family, selling to stores. Had a background in retail and in the buying offices and also in the stores and department stores. That's where I got my start of my career. And then I worked for the Chamber of Commerce with Harrisburg Regional Chamber for almost 10 years. I did everything from marketing to sales, chamber operations. And so I have my retail showroom downtown. And right now we're doing exclusively online. And so welcome to everyone. And I just want to encourage all of you entrepreneurs that are on the call to, listen in, hear whatever resources you can, gain whatever knowledge you can gain and stay in the game.
Thank you, Amajo. Next, we have Ben Bragg. Why don't you introduce yourself to the public, Ben?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Bragg, and born and raised right here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I know I'm not there right now, but definitely excited about the city. 20 years ago, I started my very own cleaning business with a $400 vacuum and some cleaning supplies from the dollar store. And since that time, I've encountered some really great success in the cleaning industry. But that's not really, my prized passion, as I kind of, figured out over the years, is that I've been able to help other people become successful in starting their own cleaning business. And I'm definitely really excited to be able to take any of the experience of over my 20 years of being in business to be able to help new and coming and some of you entrepreneurs that, have been already in the business and just, looking for that extra little bit of information and knowledge that can take you to the next level. So I appreciate Jamal and the city of Harrisburg for inviting me on this call with this great group of panelists, and look forward to, being able to share as much as I can with you.
Thank you, Ben. Next, we have Legal Nelson.
Jamal, yeah, I echo what Ben mentioned too. You have an all-star team here, man. I got my notebook out right now. So whatever we're doing, we're dropping.
Hey, I got mine too there,
whatever you're putting out there, I'm gonna pick it up, Martin. I'm gonna pick it up. So first of all, just always being a student. I'm the president of the African American Chamber of Commerce in Harrisburg. I've been in this post since May of 2011. And I'm a small business owner. I have a waste hauling, junk hauling company called Dirty Dog Hauling. We provide professional junk removal. We like to say we provide the muscle when it comes to couches, mattresses, swing sets, basements, attics, backyards, estate properties, etc. Illegal dump sites. So 4 trucks is a family-run business. Started with myself and my partner, Gary Fallings, in 2005. And just growing, we're considered an essential business. And from the Dirty Dog side, everyone has junk, so remember that. On the chamber side, we've helped over, I would say, upwards of 75 to 80 companies, small businesses or aspiring entrepreneurs in this pandemic. So PPP, EIDL, grants they wanted to put together for to help their business survive. So it's been very busy. We've been very busy in this pandemic, helping those companies stay afloat. So it's great to be on this panel to learn some other things I could take back to our members and help them stay afloat or to even strive, because some companies are going to grow in this pandemic also.
Thank you, Leland. Last but not least, we have Martin Brill. Please introduce yourself to the people, Martin.
Thank you, Jamal and Roman, for inviting me to participate with very distinguished panelists today. I'm honored to be here. I'm taking notes too, because I figure I learn more than the clients learn a lot of times. So I'm always trying to take notes and learn too. Also realized if we went by last name instead of first names in order, I would have been right after Ben there, which would have been just fine with me too. So I'm the last here, but I'm also number 4. So I'm like the cleanup hitter, like in the World Series tonight. So that's not so.
There's nothing wrong with cleaning up, Martin.
Almost 25 years. Can't believe it. It's a free service. There's no charge. It's confidential. We try to help companies, both startups and companies in business. And I have about 100 companies I work with a year. My office is in the chamber. That's how I met Amma Jo a long time ago. She was a little girl back then, I think.
What do you mean? I'm still 25. What are you talking about?
Yeah, me too. And we try to help. We don't have all the answers, okay? And you find today we won't have all the answers, but I think thinking through the right questions together, working together, sometimes just brainstorming, we can come up with some answers. So this is kind of unrehearsed and spontaneous. We welcome your participation today and welcome your questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. So as you see, if you're on the call and you're listening in, we have tried our best to assemble an all-star team here. Really try to cover all the bases, from individuals who are working day to day, just like many of you all, to own and operate their own businesses. In addition to we have some services that are represented here that are in the business of helping you grow and helping you overcome certain challenges. I will just a little housekeeping before we begin. The format will be kind of discussion based. I have some questions for the panelists that they'll be answering. If you want to take notes, please do. If you do have questions, hold on to those. We will take those at the end. You'll be able to use our Q&A function, as well as I believe you also have an opportunity to open up your line to do the raise your hand function, which will then give you an opportunity to speak and ask your questions. So start thinking now of questions that you may have, and hopefully you have some more after our discussion. What we want to do first, though, is just to get an idea of who who's in the room, or who's in our virtual room. So I'm going to send out a poll and it's asking, if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, how long have you been in that capacity? So we want to get an idea of your experience. So we'll take a couple minutes just to give everyone a chance to respond, and then we'll begin our discussion. Okay. It looks like there are waiting on maybe four answers. It looks like 4 more responses. Two more people. So if you can, please vote. Well, not vote, but please answer the poll, and then we'll move forward. Someone said they did not get the survey. If you joined us by Zoom, it should have just popped up on your screen. Or if you didn't see it, there may be a poll icon at the bottom of your screen. If you want to click that, that may allow you to respond as well.
Perhaps if they join by phone, they're not able to complete the poll.
That's correct. I'm thinking it looks like it gives us okay. All right, so we had based on the responses, it's pretty evenly split. We have some of our audiences in the experienced category, between 5 to 10 years of experience, as a business owner. The other group, 1 to 4 years, and then we also have looks like some of our participants are just starting out, so in those early stages, which is not a problem. But let's move forward and kind of get into some of the discussion here. First question I wanted to ask was, we'll start with Ben. What challenges has your business faced as a result of COVID-19?
That's definitely a great question. I've been in the cleaning business for, like I said, 20 years. And, when the COVID hit, the uncertainty was huge. They always said janitorial was a recession-proof business, and, up to this point, it pretty much has been. But at the end of the day, is if nobody is occupying the offices and no one's in the offices, then you don't have anyone to clean up for. Fortunately and unfortunately, we had a lot of business that, were titled essential businesses that allowed our workers to, stay in business, and a lot of times was able to, really take our contracts and really, change them to be able to accommodate, for dealing with the COVID now. So, at the beginning, a lot of our office buildings shut down, which was, really tough. It was the uncertainty, with, the COVID that really had everybody on edge. Since then, we've been able to, really kind of, understand what we're all fighting up there and, with the COVID and, how to, really be able to get our people back out to work and, restore that confidence in people that, facilities, are taking the proper steps, and the maintenance companies and myself, the cleaning companies, are doing their part to ensure, not only our customer safety, but their customers. So yes, it was definitely, something that I've never seen in my lifetime. I'm sure probably a lot of people on this panel haven't seen on their lifetime. But yeah, it was definitely something that, kind of, made us wake up and really look at the core of our business and, how we could start advancing forward.
Sure. Great answer. I'm a Joe, you being in the retail industry and, having a retail shop, obviously at the start of the business shutdown, statewide shutdown, obviously you were affected by that. So can you talk a little bit about how COVID-19 has affected your business?
Sure. Retail was already going through its changes and it's going through its changes, right now. So it was already changing. And then you throw COVID on top of that. Retail really comes down to what people want and convenience. And so for me, obviously we had to close our retail showroom downtown. And the reality is that most of the people who shop downtown were a lot of the Commonwealth employees. And even though we're able to open right now, the truth is the traffic for us isn't there yet. So we started manufacturing PPE supplies. I mean, that's not something that we were going to do. And but my customers started asking me. They wanted PPE supplies with our prints and our patterns and things like that. So we decided to, start doing that. We were already doing business online, which I would encourage everyone to have some type of online presence. So that helped us as well. And, when I started Joe, we started selling to stores. So wholesale was a big part of what we were doing, and then the showroom opened up and we switched to that. But so we've just really gone back to our roots. We're doing wholesale. We're growing wholesale because a lot of shoppers are not shopping at department stores anymore or malls because they don't want to deal with that. So now they're going to their local Targets and their grocery stores, and then they're going to their local retailers. So we have been selling our accessories, our PPE supplies, our beauty brand to those retailers because there's a surge in that. So that's what we've been doing to stay alive. And everyone keeps talking about the new normal, but we really don't know what the new normal is. We're just taking it day by day,
Yeah, we're not there yet. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I think both of your answers really, are a nice segue into, my next question. Being that you were able to assess kind of where you were with your business at the time, and then take a look at, based on the pandemic, how you were going to overcome those challenges. So a question I want to ask to Martin, just in your work with businesses, what types of changes, can businesses, obviously there are, many different kinds of businesses, but, there may need to be some changes to their business model in order to be successful. Probably a lot of us have started to hear that term, making a pivot. So, Martin, how would you suggest, a business's approach that need to pivot or maybe change their business model to remain successful?
Thank you, Jamal. I think it's easy to say pivot, and we hear that on the news and media all the time. I think it's very difficult and sometimes painful to do that. We've seen some clients having to reduce their workforce significantly and painfully. We've seen some actually shut their business, and some have reduced sales. So, when thinking about that, in chaos and difficult times, there is opportunity. And so the smart companies, the ones that survive, the ones that have traction, will figure out what to do that's different from the competition. And that might mean forming new partnerships, not with maybe a direct competitor, but typically maybe with a supplier or another company that sells complementary goods, or packaging differently, selling different products, as Joe suggested a couple minutes ago. So I think it's an opportunity, if you look at it that way, to really look at your whole business. And as such, we think that planning is important. So instead of just go out and doing things and reacting to the situation, sitting down and thinking through, well, what could I do differently? Look at my suppliers, for instance. Could I buy different things from them, or buy in different quantities, or form some kind of relationship with them? Could I even just sit down and write a note to my suppliers or key customers and say thank you for being there for us and supporting us. I mean, in today's world, nobody sits down and writes a thank you note, and everything's email or perhaps a phone call, but an old-fashioned thank you note sent through the snail mail sometimes is meaningful for people, maybe perhaps in the retail area, but also a wholesaler. And I just got a thank you note actually 2 days ago in the office, and I was really surprised. It was a handwritten note, a full page long. And when's the last time anybody received those? Never. When's the last time we sent one of those? Probably never. So for our suppliers or your board of advisors or key service providers, such as an attorney or banker who's maybe helping you on a loan, just say thanks, because we're all kind of in this together, right? And so that's an opportunity to call even a customer who hasn't bought from you for a long time, just checking how you doing, not even looking for a sale. Calling up, just checking, you guys doing okay over there? Anything we can help you with? Probably there's nothing you can help them with, but just that call is important. And I think given the common plight that we're all in, that's kind of a nice thing to do. Thanks, Jamal.
Sure. Thank you, Martin. I think a big piece of, kind of what you spoke to there, Martin, with the, sending the thank you notes and checking in with your customers, and I think it's something that, I've heard echoed, on maybe 2 or 3 different webinars that I've been on, is the importance of relationships, either relationships that you had prior to the pandemic, so just being able to kind of nurture those relationships and make sure that, the right relationships are in place can be a big help to your business. Leland, can you speak to that at all, Leland, about the importance of relationships overall in business, but especially during challenging times?
Yeah, sure. I like what Martin mentioned. I did something yesterday. Martin, you must have been in my room or at my desk, because I ordered some postcards, and I hand wrote the address on each postcard. I said, let's talk. I put out 25 today, and 50-cent stamp, and I'm just putting it in the mail. I don't know, because email is now, you're getting 100 emails, and now the election, I'm getting 100 text messages. So I want to send that little piece of mail, so that the post office delivers it, and we'll see what happens. But relationship building it's kind of hard right now, because if you're more like the person that meets people out and you meet and greet, they have taken that away pretty much. I mean, you can do it via Zoom, but people have Zoom fatigue. You have to wait, what, another Zoom, 6 o'clock? No, you're kind of like, you're off of it by that time. But it's important to send that email, make that phone call, like Martin mentioned. Just, hey, I'm just checking in. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just checking your pulse, checking, your temperature on things, and making sure that you're okay. And then if you get into a small conversation, they can just remember you by that. It might just pique them to say, hey, let's talk. I did that with a client that we partnered with out of York, a trash company. I just say, hey, you know what? In this environment, we compare notes. Sometimes it's good to compare notes. Hey, we're seeing a lot more trash. Are you seeing the same thing? Oh man, we're seeing a lot more trash. A lot more people are buying I'm a Joe products. So it's all these boxes in front of people's houses along with Amazon. So we're like, oh yeah, us too. So we learned in this pandemic, people are home and they are shopping. And you see a lot of boxes with smiles on their faces, the box, the little smile on it. So people are buying, they have some money, they stop going out to eat. So they have disposable income to do some things. And we just like to compare notes with other people in the industry. And then, oh, by the way, we can help you. Let's do that. So that's been working for myself and a lot of our members too.
Jamal, can I piggyback on that? I think
Absolutely.
what Leland said is so important. And I was on LinkedIn, and I forget who posted it. I think maybe it was a Gary Vee video. But one of the things they said is that now you have to remember, a lot of these busy executives that they're hard to reach, they're sitting at their desk now. And they're reading more of their emails, and they're reading more of their LinkedIn messages. And I mean, I've even gotten bulk sales from literally just looking up who's the VP of whatever, and literally like, hey, I don't know you, but hey, I have these items to sell. And I've actually gotten results from that. So it is a good time to write those notes and, reach out to people, because people do have more time than they used to.
Sure. Absolutely. I was on a meeting last week, within the last 2 weeks, and a similar discussion was taking place just around, pivoting and recognizing, different ways to do business currently. And one of the participants mentioned how, from a kind of a personnel standpoint in hiring, typically if, a good resume came in from someone who happened to, not live locally, that was it was a problem because you had to factor in either how do I relocate this person, or was travel, will they, if they do take the job, will commuting, cause them to leave the job, and nobody wants turnover. But he said, now with everyone working, with a lot of us, working remotely, he now has access to talent, that he didn't have access to before, because that living out of the area is no longer an obstacle. So just I think recognizing those pros and cons, and things that may have been an obstacle before could actually be a blessing now. I think it's just how you look at it and how you frame it.
Yeah, and I'd like to add a little bit on that, Jamal, too,
Sure.
is that I think, right now is with, a lot of the uncertainty, what it allows, you to do as a business owner is really, reflect on how you can provide, your customer value of you actually becoming now the expert. Now that right now you figure, I have a little, unique difference, than probably some of the people on the panel, because I was able to, provide a pivot that actually, was a service that, people actually wanted because of COVID-19, and that's being able to clean up after it. But my routine part of the cleaning business has now been really, because right now no one's hiring a cleaning company. No one knows when they're going back at all. So now what this is giving us an opportunity is to really brand ourselves, really put together programs for our customers out there to really, now make us as experts. And what I mean is by providing value, giving our customers ways that they can help protect their employees and their employees' families. And that's really what we kind of pivot to with the commercial cleaning. Is this is an opportunity that now, one is that we have an educated customer now. Before, in my business, a lot of the people were looking for cheaper prices, and now what they're looking for is certified, because they're educated. We couldn't, spend all of the money in telling people, hey, do you know how important it is that, your cleaning company is not, decontaminating, and they're using color-coded rags that making sure that your janitorial company is fully trained and certified. People weren't hearing that. And now we have open ears, and they are looking for experts to be able to guide them. So yes, we might not be signing up a lot of routine commercial cleaning right now, but I tell you what, is we've been making huge progress on branding our company and becoming experts. So when finally everything opens back up, they know our company as the expert, and we have a better opportunity to, get in and provide our services.
If I could piggyback on what Ben's saying, this is both a difficult, challenging time and an opportunity. And the difficult, challenging time is if a company's weak already, having trouble with cash flow, having trouble with customer demand or products or services, the pandemic's going to make everything worse. And there are companies going out of business. We've seen restaurants out of business, and many other companies in a lot of areas, both downtown and in the suburbs, out of business. This is going to exacerbate it. And that's the fact of life. And it's painful. The other side of it is it's an opportunity, as I think Ben's suggesting, for further specialization, further differentiation, really deciding what your specialty is or could be. Maybe you need a board of advisors going forward that will help guide you. Maybe you need a more focused business plan, and everybody thinks, well, that sounds academic and I don't have time for that. Well, if you don't have time for a business plan, you do have time to fail. Just as you go on a trip and you plan your vacation in terms of travel and lodging and even food and entertainment, you need a business plan to decide where your business could go, so you're leading the charge instead of reacting. So this is a time to kind of take a step back and I think really focus on the business. What's your fundamentals? What can you really do the best? And how can you do that and deliver it? And trying to incorporate change, which is difficult for anybody or any business. It's not easy. The pivoting we talk about is really tough, but I think it's really necessary. And I think that, again, we can help in that. The SCORE can help. Your mentors can help with you making those kind of changes or looking at your business critically.
Thank you, Martin and Ben. Thanks for that. My next question I wanted to ask Leland, you being kind of on both sides in that, you're a business owner, but then through the through the chamber, you're also in a support position where you're providing access to resources and information for businesses. But question I wanted to ask was, how have you, I guess with respect to to dirty dog, to hauling, what types of safety? That's obviously that's a big question in the front of everyone's minds right now. But what specific changes with regard to like your safety measures have you had to employ since the pandemic began?
That's a great question. So one thing, I mean, we're wearing a mask. Obviously, we wear gloves every day. But what we start doing is contactless hauling. And, for the customer, we're just saying, put it outside, put it in your garage, put it at the curb where we can see it. We'll give you a price. If we do it, we can take a payment over the phone using Square or any other payment method like that. Or they can leave the check. It's kind of like, leave the check there, we'll pick it up. And a lot of customers are like texting us too. Hey, we can't come out there because our time of just running back and forth giving estimates. You're not home or you want to stay in the house and not have the contact.
Right.
Take a picture of it, send us 4 or 5 pictures of what you have. We'll give you a price over text. And then if you like it, we could do it that same day and send you after pictures or, call you and tell you we're out front. We'll do it now. So it's been a lot of contactless hauling, which we brought the price down for the customer. Because think about it, if you already have it outside, I'm not going to charge you to go inside the house. So now we're inside the garage or at the corner. We can get the jobs done faster, charge you a lower rate. And if it's one item in your house, like pianos have been really big this summer, big old pianos. And we'll tell them, put 95% of the stuff out. That one piano we'll get. So now we're in your house only 10% of the time versus, 100% of the time. So we'll clear out whatever we have on the corner or in the garage. Then we'll go inside for that one couch, that one sleeper bed, that one bulk item that you can't pick up. And they've really been appreciating that. So it's been really good for us.
Yeah. That's excellent. I think, I mentioned before, this is all brand new to all of us. So I think everyone has a different, level of comfortability with regard to, how much they're willing to do or, places they're willing to go, just with regard to keeping themselves safe. So being able to, really kind of customize your service, to that and be mindful of that, I think is excellent. How about you, Joe? Have there been any new safety measures you've needed to put in place?
Not really, because we've decided to not reopen our showroom yet. So that'll come into play more for us over the holiday. We will be open in a limited time over the holidays, on limited days. So our showroom is a small space, so we're not able, because of the CDC guidelines, to have too many people in there. So we have like an online system where customers will have to, if they order online, then they can book a time to come and pick it up. And then we'll also have preset shopping time so that we can forecast as much as possible when people are coming. So, and the honest truth is, I'm always a person that likes to test things, and I don't like to put things out there without having tested it. So I'll be honest with my customers and say, this is the first time we're going through it. Please pre-book so that we can follow the safety measures. And this is going to be our first time over the holiday opening and taking those preset appointments. So I really think, we haven't really talked about this yet, but I think it's really important to just be really honest with your customers. You don't have to tell them everything that's going on, but especially if you're a small business, they understand. And I think sometimes as small business owners, we always just want to look a certain way, like everything's okay, everything, just let your customers know. I let my customers.
Did she drop?
Happened with my phone there. Can you hear me? Something happened there.
Yeah,
But,
you're
I
back.
let my customers know, we're not opening the showroom right now, but here's how you can shop us. And we're beta testing the pickup option, that type of thing. So do what you can to stay alive. Follow the guidelines, because people are getting letters. Like I tell people, don't try to skip those guidelines. Don't try to go around them. Just adhere to it, because it is worse for your business when you end up in the news for not following the guidelines. So follow them and be honest with your customers.
Sure. Thank you. Ben, I want to ask you, being that, you're in the, in that industry as far as, cleaning and keeping, keeping areas clean and safe. This has had, it has resulted in a, something that, businesses have to factor in now to their budget, just with regard to cleaning supplies and PPE. Are there any, tips or suggestions, you could offer to businesses that, want to, remain safe and obviously, value the safety of themselves and their employees, just from your perspective? What are, some ways that, businesses can stay clean and stay safe?
Listen, that's one of the best questions that you can ask, because there's obviously a lot of businesses out there that want to get open back up, but they just don't know what to do. So number one is that you need to educate yourself. One of the pivots that we've been able to do is really partner with one of the leading companies in the world that specializes in certifications from training your employees and your staff. And so that has been our number one thing is, at the end of the day, sometimes when we're business owners, we feel that we need to have all of the knowledge and be able to, kind of delegate the stuff out from us. But I learned a long time ago is that if you're able to take your workers and your staff and give them 100%, cutting out the middleman as much as you can. And that's what we've done is we've made all of our partners get certified. We've been able to provide the certifications. I've been able to partner up with other businesses and help them get their building certified, their workers certified. We're in fact doing some really big projects right now with Harrisburg University, SCPA Works, and the YMCA of going out certifying young business owners and young future entrepreneurs, and just some people that want to get into the industry, because right now, yes, this COVID has provided many challenges, but I tell you what, in this industry, there's never been a better opportunity for someone to be in the cleaning business. And how you become successful right now is really education, educating your staff. There's nothing like being able to, have your staff understand the responsibility that they have on cleaning. See, before in our industry, you give some people some rags, you slap a shirt on them, you send them in there, they empty the trash, they run the vacuum. Well, guess what? Now people realize we're way more than that. So the only way for us to become better as a company to truly, honestly keep our people safe is we have to educate ourselves. So that has been our biggest go-to that we've dedicated and invested all of our resources in, is teaching our staff how important it is to not only protect our customers, but protect their family, because they're going in and cleaning. What's it like to go in and clean a building and bring the stuff home to your family? So education by far is, the best thing that any company can do. Because if you don't educate yourself, okay, on how to protect, yourself, how can you teach someone else how to protect themselves? So that would be my biggest recommendation is that we as business owners have a responsibility. You know, it's not just about profit. You know, think about it. You put all these things in place and you don't educate yourself, and, you know, you go out to continue to do business. Your workers get sick. The people you're, you know, doing business with get sick. You know, come on, how's that help anybody but yourself?
Right.
So education by far is the most powerful tool that we have to make it through COVID.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ben. Just really quick, there's some questions coming in through the Q&A. Just wanted to say I see those, and we will get to those. So we're not ignoring those. We're just having some discussion right now, but we will answer those questions.
Jamal, if I could add to what
Sure.
Ben said, I think that the specialization is really important. So if you're in a business already and you've kind of made it so far, you've sustained yourself, this may be a time to further specialize. The German model is important in this case because you get maybe more knowledge and more specialized training and can deal with a more specific industry, which may give you a premium on what you can charge and a different kind of market to go after. So I like the idea of specialization and differentiation, which I think I mentioned earlier. So the other thing is, don't forget the bottom line as far as cash flow and profits, okay? It's easy to kind of stay in business and keep running, but remember, cash is always king. And in this we're kind of in a recession. Maybe it's not like the previous recession, but we're kind of in one, and we have to be careful to make sure that we have the funds to pay our bills, to pay our suppliers, pay for any kind of advertising and transportation and any other kind of needs we have. So we still got to watch that bottom line really carefully.
Sure. You mentioned specialization, Martin. So let's stay there for a moment. I wanted to ask, let's say right now a person is interested in starting a business, and maybe they have been able to recognize an area, right now, a need that's not maybe being met. And they have the perfect idea to accomplish that. What advice or would you give to someone right now who's looking to start a business during the pandemic?
I think there's always a good time to start a business, and it's always difficult times and competitive and sometimes chaotic times. That's just the nature of things. So no perfect time ever, right? So I think first, what we try to do is be good listeners and try to understand our client and where they're coming from and what they're really looking to do. It's very easy for us to kind of jump in and say, oh, do a business plan, or do you have money or something? That's not really helping them. I think it's first listen to them, figure out what they're about, what their motivations are, perhaps how we can help them. And I think in that way, we kind of earn the right to build a relationship, which we talked about earlier. Relationships are always important in any business, in any topic, really. So we try to earn the right to be able to participate in that discussion with them. That means we probably don't agree with them on a lot of things. So we're going to say that. So in kind of just starting out, what are you good at? What do you like? That's okay. What's the market saying? And so I'm always fascinated by markets, and that means what's competition doing? Okay, and what are you different? And how are you different from your competitors? And everybody's got competitors, including what we do. So yes, I have my own company on the side, and I work with college students on their applications. So I had to answer those questions. I had to put together a plan for myself. I said, what do you do different from other advisors that work with kids on their college applications? And I had to figure that out in order to succeed. And I had to succeed because I needed the extra money to help my kids get through college. Okay, we needed the money to do that. So failure wasn't an option, but I had to figure out, what do I do different? So if someone calls me and saying, you're charging X amount per hour, so I can call 3 other people. I said, well, you can call anybody you want. Here's what I do different from those people.
Sure.
Okay. So I think kind of starting on that basis, looking at competition, who's your target market, how are you going to reach them, and what are some best practices in your business? Okay. who would you like to be like, even if they're in a different place, because you can do the research online or talk to some people, get an idea who's doing something really well, who has some best practices. And we should talk at some point about websites and social media too, but we'll hold off on that for right now.
Sure.
Can I also add to that, because I think it's so important. I'm a firm believer in finding the sale first, like find one customer first, because sometimes when you have an idea in your head, it looks one way until you actually do it. And, I didn't do any production on any handbags until I got pre-orders. I didn't do any production on trying to get into any stores. I had one sample and I called, people that I knew. I sketched out different colors of what they would look like, and I asked them to pre-order. The same thing for the first store that I got into. I went to that store and they wanted to buy a bulk order of bags, and I let them know, hey, I'm just starting out. If I can take a deposit on your order. And I let them know, hey, I'm new to production, so this is the amount of time that I think it's going to take me to make them. But I'm a firm believer in finding the sale first, because sometimes before you start, you're convinced that you need this and you need that and you need this loan and you need that, and you may need it, but you really don't know your process of what you're going to go through until you get that first customer. So maybe it's graphic design. Find someone to do your logo, to do their logo, whatever it is, like find a very small place to start. And never underestimate starting small. Never underestimate selling that one thing and taking yourself to the process to learn, how to scale up and grow. So I'm a firm believer, like find the sale first for your idea. Find someone who's interested.
Great. And that's important. Just that kind of theme, we spoke about a little bit earlier, and just, reaching out to your customers, staying connected to your customers, finding out what it is that they need. Just myself as a consumer, during this past 7 months, there have been, some businesses that I, frequent and patronize that I think have really stepped up and really met my needs during this time. And then there's others that haven't, as much. So, how do you do that? What are some other ways that you have been able to, assess your customers and in terms of what they need and continue to meet those needs, over this time? Leland, how about you?
Well, what I looked at, it's funny when you ride past certain places, you talk about patronizing certain places. One day I happened to be riding past Home Depot. I was like, wow, Home Depot is packed. And let me go over to Unit Deposit by Lowe's. Wow, Lowe's is packed. So you got to look at other indicators that how they influence your business. If everybody's home and they're working on that kitchen, that bathroom, that new refrigerator, that new couch, about a month later, my business picked up. I was like, because it was like a lag. It was a lag. Okay, I'm doing this now. Some money came in, or we're going to save for this. We're going to get this outside stuff done while it's summertime. But as the fall starts coming in, we're going to buy that new couch. Get rid of that. So we saw this in 2008 too. So the recession of 2008 showed us that the same thing: TVs, couches, refrigerators. People were buying things to keep them comfortable in their own home during a recession. Like, you know what? I have enough. I can't go out to dinner, or we can't go on that big vacation, but we can't buy a new couch. So these creature comforts that people were doing that kept us busy, and we're seeing a lot of them, like just a couch, a mattress, refrigerator, just a wet bar, whatever it may be. We're starting to see a lot more of that happening. So sometime when you've been through it, so 15 years in business shows us, we've been through this before. It's a little different this time, but there's some things we learned, lessons learned from the past that we can now say, oh, you know what? Last time we saw this is what happened. And sure enough, it came back around. It was slow a little bit, because March, April, May, it was kind of quiet. But then June, July, August, it was gangbusters. Like, I'm glad September kind of cooled down a little bit, because for 3 months, I couldn't even get the truck service because we were just running so hard, which is a good thing. It's
right. Not complaining about that.
So, you got to get it while you can. I will add this too before I get off this reply. I've been seeing a lot. The innovation of Central PA, Greater Harrisburg area has been this. The ecosystem that are being built right now, I'm seeing a lot more pop-up shops. So I know you know all about this, but I've seen one at Italian Lake. I've seen them at Reservoir Park. I've seen them at Soldier Grove. I've seen him at Music Man when he had his grand opening. So I'm like, wow, it's causing all these small entrepreneurs to say, hey, Joe, where you going this weekend? Can I tag along with you and have a table beside you? And they're just going along and they're starting to spend dollars with each other, which the chamber always wanted them to, have our own little ecosystem. Before we went to corporate partners and say, buy from us,
Sure.
who are you spending from? When I saw Alma had her mask out, I went online, I ordered, they came in the mail, perfect system. In 3 days, I had my mask, gave one to my mother. She loves Alma Joe and her products. I'm like, you know what, Mom, here's an Alma Joe mask. And she was so happy. So
Thank you.
those type of ecosystems have to work.
Yeah.
If you can buy from that small business, now's the time to do it. If you have the dollar to do it and you can support small and local businesses, please do that.
Sure. Thank you. The SBA's Small Business Week was in September, and I was watching a presentation there, and one of the speakers said, actually, used a term that first time I'd heard this term, but kind of the discussion was around, what do businesses need at the time. So, obviously, capital usually is kind of number one, but the term that she used was cultural capital, in that just being able to understand people, understand different cultures and kind of what people's needs are. I think kind of speaks to kind of what you just mentioned, Leland, in the sense of looking at your community, building those relationships, finding where there's synergy, to where businesses can lean on each other. And kind of leverage each other's strengths to get through these difficult times. I think that's very very important.
Jamal, can I pick up on
yeah, absolutely.
earlier? And your question, sort of how do you start? And I think that's a fair question for anybody who's starting a new business segment or starting to look at business overall. And I think, kind of customer focus is really important. And I think that's what Joe was saying. And it's good to maybe have a focus group sometime of people. And I know it's difficult in these times, but it maybe could be virtual, or hopefully in the future it'll be in person, whether it's a new food or a product. And it's not just would you buy it or not, it's do you like it? Would you buy it once a year? Would you buy it as a gift? Or would you just buy it for yourself? Do you think the price is too high? What about the packaging here? So I think that if you had a couple focus groups with your target market, with age group or whatever, I think that's a really good way to sort of test the market a little bit. And then maybe start out and say, fine, maybe Joe has a beautiful purse for $49. It's really pretty. You say, well, maybe I want to sell a couple of these just at $25 to get some testimonials and find out what the customer says to me. And see, do they like the packaging? Did they buy it for a younger person? Did they buy it for a grandmother? Did they buy it just as Christmas? I kind of want to know those things, that kind of customer demand and what they're willing to pay for it. I think that's kind of really important, and it's worth a few bucks of your efforts to do that. And you'll see that in the stores a lot. A new product, it'll be kind of introductory price, whether it's a food product or non-food product. And I think that's kind of a way to break in the market and see legitimacy of the product. What people really saying to me. And you don't want to just talk to friends. And I don't even like a survey, because survey people are just checking off and I'm done with it and I'll say anything they want. Or if we like Leland or Joe and just say, well, Joe says you like the purse. I'm not going to tell her no. She's a great person. So of course I'll say I like it, even if I really don't like it. So just a couple comments there.
Sure. Thank you. We earlier on, I think it was Amma who mentioned just that, due to the nature of the times we're in, people are have a little bit more time, maybe, but that they're just kind of at your desk, or I'm sure we've all had different opportunities to maybe read different things and just kind of hit the pause button a little bit and be able to educate ourselves. So So I wanted to ask, of the group, has there been a new resource or, maybe a new, technique or strategy that you had a chance to come across, over these 7 months that you maybe weren't aware of, before, that you think has been useful to you and maybe useful to someone else that's on our call?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Oh, I was
I'll
just
go after you.
okay,
Ladies first.
real quick. Thank you. I don't know that I've discovered like a new resource, but I have tapped into some of the like new updated ways that you can advertise and market on Facebook, Pinterest, and also through Google advertising. It used the way you could market used to be like one way, but now on Facebook you can do leads lists, you can collect email addresses, you can even do, $10, $20 of advertising on Pinterest if you want. Like it gets really specific. So that's one of the things that I've really been able to tap into, and it's been made very user friendly. So you don't have to be, a web guru to know how to do this stuff. So that's one of the things I've been tapping into.
Sure. Which is good, because I think a lot of times that is the barrier, just not, maybe having a pretty general use of how to use certain technology, but some of the times that can be a big barrier for a small business owner, especially that maybe doesn't have maybe they are the tech department themselves, or they are their own marketing department. So if you don't know how to use some of these resources, it can be a little Ben, you were going to jump in?
Back in that is technology. You even look at the stock market now. A lot of the things that are keeping the stock market up are technology companies. It's not, you think about it, when you think about a cleaning service, that is hands-on, I would think, out of our business is that hands-on is probably 20%. The rest of the stuff is all backed by technology, from the advertising, from the marketing, from the hiring of our employees, to the quality assurance of our customers being able to go in and rate their service on a 1 to 5 scale on an email. So technology has allowed, me to have my business and talk to you from a beach. So I think that is, one of the biggest resources that I would, really tell folks is that, right now with this new day and age is that there's technology out there. There's things in there that constantly to be able to make your, business better. And, for myself, my biggest drive is that I don't want to run a business. I tell people all the time that I'm temporarily motivated to be permanently lazy. So technology allows me to do that. So if I didn't have this technology, then I would have to go out and be able to have to do an on-site inspection myself. But yet I leave that up to the customer to hit a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I would have to go out and create my own invoices for each job. But yet my staff has apps on their phone that allows them to create the invoice while they're on the job. So all of these things of being able to realize how you can make your business more efficient. And really right now, the new day and age is technology. So that's some of my, biggest advice that I could give to you is, constantly figure out how you can continually be more efficient, with your business. And there's just so many different platforms and things out there that can help. I don't care what type of business you're in. I'm in a cleaning business, so if I can do it in a cleaning business, believe me, you can do it in whatever type of business you're in.
Sure. We talked a little bit about resources, and obviously, a huge challenge that many businesses have faced has been the financial impact, that their businesses have had to sustain. Obviously, the businesses that are able to overcome that, we're fortunate for them, but the fact of the matter is that there are many businesses that have closed, or maybe there will still be more that will close. the financial aspect of that, there has been, fortunately, different forms of relief, that have been available, through, local, state, federal government. So I wanted to ask if any of you have, did apply for any of the relief that was available, either the PPP program, the EIDL loans, which were available, and if you did, what was your experience with that, navigating that process? Did you find it being helpful to you at all?
Guess I'll go first. I applied for all. What we did was, when the information came out, we blasted our membership list, put it on social media for our members in the community to click on the link and sign up. Walk through I would say about 20 applications with different folks, people in the community and business owners from the chamber. And I didn't track the numbers of how many got funding, but I will say probably about 25% received the funding. Applications were different. Some of the big banks were not as nimble as the smaller CDFIs, which we appreciate the CDFIs. We saw the value of a Mid-Penn Bank, a Orrstown Bank, Community First Fund, et cetera, versus the big global banking companies. They were kind of slow to the punch. So it tells you about sometime in the pandemic, the big guy cannot respond as fast as the small guy. So we learned that across the whole, for the most part, when Wells was kind of fumbling the ball, Community First One was picking it up and saying, hey, we can get you the funding faster. So that has been very helpful. What we did, where the small business owner got exposed, I know Amma and Mark, all of us on the panel could probably attest to, you got to have your financial house in order. You got to have your books in order. And this is coming from a former accountant, former Big Four accountant. And I didn't have my finances in order a year and a half ago, but I got them in order. And when this pandemic hit, when they're asking for these documents really fast, you can't wait 48 hours, 72 hours to get it back to them. I was like, oh, you need that? Okay. Send it right to them. The faster you got it back, the faster you got in the queue to get the funding, because the money went just like that. Just like that. So as Dauphin County decides who's going to receive some of the CARES funding, and the governor I think he's finalizing, maybe a third round for the CARES funding. You got to have your documents in order. You will be exposed. You worked hard. You might be in business 5-10 years, and you need help bad. But if you don't have your documents, they don't recognize your plight. So you got to have your numbers together.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that. Again, very, very important. We can, kind of have a discussion around, technology and different ways to connect with your customers. But, fact of the matter is that if the business doesn't have the financial, backing that it needs to stay in business, it's going to be almost impossible to do that. For, maybe a business that, they could be sitting here right now and, they recognize that they don't have their financial house in order. I wanted to ask, Martin, how does the business go about that? Whether it's maybe, starting a relationship with a bank or maybe services that, the SBDC provides, but, what types of support is out there for a business to make sure that they're pretty sound, as far as their financial records?
Well, a couple things. Thanks, Jamal. Let me just go back for a second here and think that in terms of pivoting and all that, I think that clients should be looking at solving problems for their customers is an important way to market, and also selling benefits, not the features and advantages of what they have to offer, but how it benefits their customers. So I think that's kind of important. And the third thing is really, especially with younger people, is kind of the social entrepreneurship or the social benefits that their business offers in terms of environmental kind of issues or social improvement or charity, something like that. That's really important for the younger generation here. And I do some work at the Elizabethtown College, a little bit at Kutztown. Young people want to know that as part of the business. So if you're doing that and nobody knows about it, it's like you're not doing it. So if that's important to you and it's important to your target market, just think in those terms. A lot of people do it, they don't talk about it. So just think if you're helping folks or working on environmental issues or volunteer work, that becomes part of your ethos in doing the business. So I'm sorry on that, but I'm an old man, so I'm going to forget about what I'm saying there. So if I don't talk to you now about it, then I'll be lost. So first of all, I'd start with personal finances. What's your credit score? Do you have funds to maintain the business? Do you have collateral? And you really need those things to get in business, to get a loan, to sustain the business sometimes. So that's hard to do a lot of times, especially a young person, a person who's gone through unemployment or difficult times. But business is difficult. It's business in normal times, let alone these kind of challenging times. It's not for everybody. So just because you think, well, I got to do that, maybe you're better off working for somebody else rather than trying to get into business for yourself. It's not for everybody. So I would start personally. Do you have savings? Do you have collateral? Do you have net worth? I would take a look personally. Then I would kind of put together, we have templates if people want to use them, that it's free to try them out, to say, okay, let me make some projections here, just simple things. You can round it up, or just instead of saying $10,000, just put $10 in there and all that, but just kind of take a quick look and see, does this make sense to me? See, are you going to generate some money by doing this, generate some cash? So just simple, commonsensical things. I work with a company that has looking to open up a restaurant. They have food trucks right now, and he's looking to do $500,000 of business a year, or $1 million, up to $1 million, $500,000 to $1 million. So he said, "What do you think about that?" I said, "Where'd you get the number?" "Well, I'm just kind of like that number." I said, "Well, you're talking about doing $10,000 to $20,000 of business a week in the restaurant, okay?" He's kind of thinking. I said, "Well, to my mind, restaurants don't do much business Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday night. Okay, so maybe a little bit of your business is coming in those days, or earning just say $10,000 a week. Mm-hmm. So maybe you earn $2,000 a week, but you got to earn $8,000 a week on 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, is that possible? Do you have the capacity to do that?" So I think those are just kind of commonsensical ways to approach the business. Certainly, right. You get your books in order. You can talk to an accountant and all that. That's good. But I mean, just to start, I would just go through the common sense ways of looking at things.
Sure. Thank you. We're almost at about 15 minutes out here. I want to make sure we leave a little bit of time at the end for questions. So what I wanted to do is if each one of you maybe just wanted to take a minute or so, just if you just kind of have a final thought that you wanted to offer, maybe something we didn't already discuss through our talk here, but what's maybe your final thought that you would offer to our guests today? But Brand, why don't we start with you?
All right, so to be honest with you, is after this 20 years of being in the business, I think when I look back when I started 20 years ago to now, depending on where you are in your life, I think before you even think about start a business, you got to think about why you want to start it. Because a business is nothing more than a vehicle to get you to what you want in your life. And I think that is the most important thing, because you can find out that you could achieve the things you want in your life maybe by doing something else that you're not a business owner. So I would really think about that. Number one is, why is it? I look at myself is that I'm really not a good rule follower. I need to make my own decisions. I want to kind of walk to my own beat, and owning an own business is the only way I could do that. At the end of the day, I never in my entire life would have picked a cleaning business, ever. Okay, but what I looked at was what this business allowed me to do, which most important to myself is to spend time with my family. In order to do that, I had to be able to put myself in a position that I can make decisions that will allow me to achieve my end result. So I think so many times people just want to start a business because They think it's the cool thing to do. But a business is not the success. It is nothing more than the vehicle that gets you to where you want. So I think once you know what you want, then your life becomes clear. Because what happens is, yeah, I started cleaning and I cleaned the toilets, I emptied the trash, I did all of these things. But my business evolved to me now that I don't clean. I help other people achieve their dreams in owning a cleaning business. That's my passion, not cleaning. So I was able to put myself in a position that I'm doing what I love. It wasn't cleaning, so I think so many times people get caught up in being a business owner. What's the use of being a business owner if you're not making no money? So think about what you want for yourself personally. And then once you know that, you can think and start researching vehicles that can allow you to achieve that. So that's my biggest advice to you folks out there that are in business is that you got to know what you want. And once you know what you want, then you can choose the vehicle to get you there to get it.
Get you there. That's great. That's powerful. Thank you, Ben. Joe, how about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I really love what Ben said, and it's amazing. You can hear the passion, and that's what I would say is you have to be passionate about what you're doing, and because that passion at the end of the day will guide you when the chips are down or the numbers aren't where you want it to be. And I would also just say if you're serious about it and you do have the passion, get started. Find a place to start. Don't talk about it. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Like I said, start with small steps that you can take, things that you can do. Set up your little website, use Wix or Weebly. Sometimes some of those things are like $10 or sometimes it's free to get your website started, or you could just use Facebook. But, get started. And I really want to encourage, especially, in our community, in our Black community, we don't always have the generational wealth, and we just don't always have that social capital and those contacts that other people have. Don't allow that to make you not get started. Okay. Because if you just find a little place to start, you just have no idea where it could go. So if you got the passion and you have a great idea, find a small place to start and stick with your passion.
It's great. Great advice. Thank you. Martin, how about you? Final words for our group?
Oh, sure. We always have something to say, as you know already. I say first to our audience here, thank you for your time. And thank you again, and Jamal and Momin for organizing the event. Anybody who's watching this sees three good examples of entrepreneurs who are intelligent, thoughtful, creative, and sticking to it. They're the exception to the rule. 8 out of 10 businesses fail by year 5. That's the rule. Okay. These folks work hard. They're working a lot of different hats. They've gone through ups and downs. And so you see them nice in front of you and speaking, and they got a business behind them, and they're successful. But that betrays the real concept of the hard work and agony and staying up the nights. And am I going to make payroll? And how do I order this and pay for it? So this is a tough business. The other word is that social media website is king right now. So everybody has to have this. I think you've heard that. So I'll say it real clearly. You need a good social media presence and website to be credible today, so people can find you, so people can order your product. And it has to be really good today. So that's key to it. And also, finally, be creative. I talked to a roofer the other day, and he always eats in this fancy restaurant. And I know him really well. And I said, how can you afford to eat in this fancy restaurant? Times are tough. He says, well, because the restaurateur didn't have money to pay for the roof. So he gave us certificates for the restaurant. And so we're eating there a lot because the roof over his head. And I'm eating in the restaurant now. So think creatively. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Mr. Nelson, any final nuggets for our audience?
Yeah, the good thing about going last, I got to say ditto, and ditto. What I'll add to this is entrepreneurship is a lot of accidental entrepreneurs will come out of this pandemic. They won't find a way back into a job. Offices will close down, and you have to take your skill set you learned from corporate America. And what I want to tell these would-be entrepreneurs is work as hard for yourself as you did for someone else, please. That don't mean like if your hours are 9 to 5, you're opening up at 9:45 and closing at 3:30. That's not going to keep you in business. It's not. We eat what we kill. I mean, I hate to say that, but we really are out here hunting every day. It's blood sport. You're going to fail fast. We didn't talk about, I like what Martin said. We're not talking about all the failures. I bet you Ben has story. I know Amma has story. I can tell you about lights being turned off at the house, a car being repoed. If we're really talking about really, really being transparent. But will I do it again? Absolutely. I'll do it again. I'll do it again and again. So, but it builds up that resilience in you. So it's not our first time. So any new entrepreneur, take your failures, take your stripes. You got to earn your stripes. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Well, how many times over? Because, a couple of years in, let's get past that 5-year mark. I'm not saying you can't do it, but you're gonna earn your stripes in this game. I remember doing a price for a product. I priced over the phone. Oh yeah, give me a description over the phone. Oh, $50. This thing was in the basement. Took us 2 hours to get it out. And we had to take the doors off the handle. And the person will pay me no more than what I told them. I said $50. I'm the expert. First year in business. I'll bargain with life for a nickel and pay me no more. Man, I learned my lesson. We're not pricing over the phone. Now we can if we have a description or get pictures. But back then, the guy said, "You're the expert. Here's $50." So sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail. If you don't know, you're usually the nail.
Thank you for that.
That's great.
Thank you all for for being here. A lot of valuable information. You were able to share with our group today. We'll open it up for a couple questions. So I'll check the Q&A here. One question is here, which we spoke to a little bit. Were each of you able to access CARES funding for small businesses, PPP or SBA loans to help? So, Leland, I think you answered that you did apply.
The most important thing is what Leland said to that question is if you don't have your books together, you're not going to be able to get funding during, this time or really any other time. So find your way through the resources, tap into the SBDC so that the minute you start your business that you have your books. I think that's the best advice I got when I started day one. I was advised from someone, have your books together. And that will help you when the emergencies come up and you need cash right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and for myself, fortunately, like I said, is that I think I'm in a very unique position, than the other people on the panel is because, yes, our routine commercial cleaning stopped, but there was a really big, outpour for companies that could be able to help clean up from COVID. And it's really accelerated our business 500-fold. So we haven't been needed to be able to, access any of the PPE. But I really take that for myself is that getting into business, one thing they always say, you start from the school of hard knocks, and I really built my business off of, sweat equity,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy to say that I've never needed any lines of credit or loans to run the business. I really focused on a lot what Martin was talking about is understanding your numbers, your financial, your cash flow. That's one of the biggest things that any business owner needs to understand. You can look at P&L, but I think Martin will tell you, cash flow analysis is one of the biggest things to understand about your business. So for myself, I've always prided. It's been really tough a lot of times, but I've learned to make it, but I'm not saying no other business doesn't need that. Some of these folks, Alma Jones is in the retail. Someone shuts her store down, traffic stops. what does she pivot to? Which is great. She started making masks, PPE. You know, that's the pivot. You know, my pivot was we went from routine cleaning to being able to provide disinfection services. You know, to being able to go out and, hey, a company calls and they got COVID. You know, we're done tons of business with the state, with the Dauphin County, with the city, being able to pivot and become experts and being able to, you know, provide that service. So fortunately for us, by all means, like I said, I'm in a way different position than probably a lot of the businesses. But at the end of the day, there is a pivot. You know, you just have to find it, you know, the one is for your business.
Sure.
Jamal, can I add? So someone listening to this might say, well, my books aren't really in order, but those programs have passed, and, you know, let me just forget about it there, because I don't like talking about things we don't know and postpone, right? But there may be another round of funding coming up, which is important. And if you don't have your books in order, as you've heard already, that's going to be a big problem. There's also state funding possible, and also county programs as well, or a loan. So you're going to have them in order. Most companies are pretty good doing what they do well in terms of goods or services. They do pretty well at marketing their goods and services, but the finance is usually a disaster. That's the biggest Achilles heel of businesses. Please don't ignore that. Help, ask for it from the private sector, from a colleague, or somebody who can really help you, perhaps the SBDC, for instance, or SCORE.
Sure. Thank you both for that. I did want to tack on there that the city is, if you're aware, did do a neighborhood business stabilization program, a grant program back in spring, and we are looking to do a second round before the year is over. So, if you stay in contact with me. Many of you have my information. My email address is on the website. I can put it in the chat as well. But just continue to stay tapped into to the city, so you can get information when those applications are available. But that will take place before the year is over. Round two will take place. So those were the initial two questions that came in. I think there may be another raised hand here. You should be unmuted there. Trying to unmute there was a question coming in. You can put it in the Q&A and I could read it if you're able to do that. You should be able to unmute yourself, Veronica. I just asked to unmute. Looks like she may be having some difficulty there. But again, we are right up here, right up against 5 o'clock. So I want to be respectful for everyone's time. But again, thank you all to our panelists, and thank you all to everyone who has joined us. Just the last thing I would add is, one good thing about this time period, I've had a chance to really tap into a lot of webinars, a lot of Zoom calls, and I heard a business owner in Florida tell a story about just being prepared for times like this, being that, she unfortunately had to go through hurricanes, had hurt her business. The Zika virus, had hurt her business. She ran a food truck. But she said the one thing she had found was just, trying to stay as prepared as possible. Tapping into relationships, allowed her to be prepared for this time. So there were a couple notes that she made, which I'll read. She said, during times like this, during difficult and challenging times, you want to be able to react, respond, overachieve, and succeed. And I think if you can tap into those, those finer points there, we can, all of your businesses can make it out of this time and continue to be successful. So we wish everyone the best of luck. Again, stay in touch with me and with the city to find out about more events such as these. December the 8th will actually be our final workshop of the year. But once again, just want to thank everyone. I think a lot of great information was given out this evening, and we hope that it was all helpful to everyone. So thank you all for joining, and we'll be in touch with you all soon. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jamal.
Thank you. Thanks, Jamal.
Thank you.